And salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucci, here with you, as always, accompanied by my healer, the boy.
Hey.
And you are listening to the Two Nerds podcast, of course. Before we get started, I just need to remind you to like, comment, favorite, subscribe. Head on over to Super Blizzard's Bandcamp page, buy up his Shining with Auto tracks. Let's Get Hardcore as our theme music, and he gave it to us for free.
Because he's a good guy like that.
He is. He patted me on the head and he said, "You do whatever you want, weird guy on Twitter. I do not care."
Now go and sin no more.
Or sin a lot, really. Don't care. But yeah. Today, this is one of the bonus podcasts we're doing all throughout October. In case you missed the announcement on our What Makes a Horror Movie podcast. And you did! Because only one person has watched it so far, and that was me. So, I'm going to include a link.
Ouch, that hurts a little.
Yeah, right? It's a big old comeback after the boy's gone for a week. You know, you break a habit and it just explodes. But hey, I'm not holding it against you. October's a busy month.
Right.
You had to go out shopping for your Halloween costume. You had to go out shopping for candy corn flavored alcohol for your Halloween party. You had to go out shopping for some goats to sacrifice. This is a busy month for everyone. So I will be helpful. I'm just going to post a link right there on the screen in an annotation for realsies this time because I can do that. And it'll take you right to the other video. You can find out what we think about what makes a horror movie scary.
But today's podcast isn't about that.
Yes, you may notice by the fact that I didn't open up with a stupid voice.
Yes. Today's podcast is about something that has faded in and out of the Two Nerds household for several years, and is currently in, and on the eve of a new era of this thing, we felt like it'd be a good time for a podcast. I'm talking, as you could probably tell from, the title, about World of Warcraft.
You know, what we should do sometime is just, have the title be Two Nerds talk about, I don't know.
Cheese.
No, not cheese. No, that's too fucking stupid. Two Nerds talk about, some new game that's coming out. Destiny. That's a big popular game. We don't play real video games, viewer, listener, Ultimo Dragon with eye ears. We only play, RPGs and stuff. But, and fighting games. But yeah, we could have a Two Nerds podcast titled, Destiny. And they're like, oh yeah, I get to hear about my favorite game, Destiny. And then we're just, talking about our favorite recipes. As you can tell by the title, this podcast is going to be about an awesome game. So what do you think about cinnamon? Oh no, but we are discussing World of Warcraft, and I rudely interrupted you, so why don't you continue saying your thoughts?
No, I was just introing.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, this is, we're not hardcore WoW players. We never have been. We've devoted an obscene amount of time to it.
But that doesn't mean that we're, all that good at it, because we're really not.
I don't know,
We're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're okay, we can run dungeons and stuff, but neither of us have raided, so...
I think we do fine.
You forget I tank and I heal. Those are, I could probably DPS a raid, because that's exactly the same as DPSing anything else. Don't stand in the fire, do your spells. But I tank and heal. Those require something of practice I do not have.
Well, yes and no, as I'm given to understand it. If you were Shaman Heals or something like that, you might have to worry, because it's a very different game, but...
Whatever, I use Healbot anyway.
Yeah. And I when I ran a healer, and one of the healers I run right now is a holy paladin. That doesn't change much. Those are your tank healers. You just drop your fucking heal thing on them, and you heal yourself and the tank. But I digress. We're not hardcore WoW players. I can't remember the last time we made it to the end of an expansion while that expansion was the in thing.
I do Cataclysm. I made it to the end of Cataclysm.
Actually, no, I got max level toward the end of Wrath of the Lich King's life cycle.
Yep. But But aside from Cataclysm, it's been... Well, we came on during Wrath.
Yeah.
We're Wrath babies, as it were.
Really early in Wrath it had to have been, because it felt like...
Yeah, nothing had dropped yet. There wasn't, like, it was just Wrath was up.
You know what? I think it was about a year into Wrath because they were talking about Cataclysm.
And
because I remember one of the things I was really pissed off about is because I couldn't roll a Troll Druid.
And then you heard about Cataclysm. We're like, well, I could do that once Cataclysm drops. And then it was like maybe it was a long time before anything Lich King related dropped. Yeah. You still hadn't fought the Lich King when he showed up, but it was still during Wrath. And so, I finished Wrath. I got to 80 before Cataclysm dropped. I got to 85 before Mists of Pandaria dropped. But the problem is I also quit WoW before Mists of Pandaria dropped.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know, it was mostly financial. I mean, we just weren't playing it that much.
And it wasn't worth the money because we have 2 accounts.
Yeah.
So it wasn't worth the amount of money we were spending on it. It was because all I was really doing at that point was farming up mats and doing daily cooldowns on alchemy and selling stuff on the auction house to bankroll a bunch of alts that we had, really.
We even stopped playing our PvP duo.
Yeah, we stopped playing a lot. We were mostly just doing daily stuff, and it just wasn't worth it. So we stopped for a long time, right before Mist dropped. If that gives you a good time frame, like I was in the beta for it.
Yeah.
And then we started up again recently. Well, he did, and he's a terrible enabler, so I did too.
Well, actually, I started up earlier this year, before we moved, before we started the Tenure podcast.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, remember, I was playing a panda?
I do not remember this at all.
Wow, okay. We still had a roommate, a third roommate. Well, a fourth.
It was a fourth nerd, temporary situation, but...
Yeah, he was there, and he was going through, trying to play a bunch of different MMOs. This is an old friend of mine. When I rekindled with him, we tried to find a bunch of stuff to do together. He was one who introduced me to League of Legends.
Thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah. And I don't know. I've always liked MMOs, and
we tried a bunch. We tried a bunch of free MMOs in the absence of WoW. I remember that time frame.
Well, and I got Guild Wars 2 as well.
Yeah, you got Guild Wars 2. You tried that. I played it for maybe like 2 seconds. We tried Lord of the Rings online. We tried that D&D online.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that game was really fun, so long as you had people with you.
But that's the thing, we never do. Even in WoW. Even when we were in a guild in WoW, we never had people with us.
No, the guild was the 2 of us and all our alts.
No, I mean, even on,
Anubarak,
yeah.
On our first server. You know what? We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start from our beginning with WoW.
My beginning with WoW, the first character I rolled was a Troll Rogue. And then I realized I didn't super like rogues at around level 3. Second character I rolled was a Troll Hunter. Got him to 16, 17, something like that.
I remember that character.
Yeah, Lugraven was his name. Super long story short. Nobody seems to be able to spell my nickname, which is hilarious because nobody can pronounce my actual last name. I'm sure you see it written there in the text. Chucci does not scream Chucky. But that's the way it's pronounced, I promise you. But on the internet, all the time, when I was more active in larger scale forums, people would see White Raven, and when they went to type it, their fingers would go, this cannot possibly be the word I'm spelling.
And they would just autocorrect to white with WHITE, Raven.
Or anything. So many different things. And it's like, how did you...
Wait, Raven.
I forget, but my favorite one of all time was One Raven. Because that's just...
That's just not even close to correct.
So I named my troll One Raven. This was not on an RP server. Anubarak isn't an RP server. I got into 15, 16, I don't know. And,
Fleh.
No, I remember what it was. It was, in the meantime, I'd started up another character who I would eventually get to 83. But the guild we were with, they were always asking for healers. A friend of ours got us, didn't really get us into WoW, but he helped us into WoW.
Yeah, we were interested in WoW, and he sort of boosted us in.
Yeah, he
got us
bridged the gap.
involved, gave us a bunch of gold to start so that we didn't have to worry about being poor while we were leveling.
Lovely netherweave bags.
Delicious netherweave bags. I will always be grateful for that first set of netherweave bags.
The guild he got us into, they kept talking about how they needed healers and tanks and healers and tanks. You know, it quickly became apparent to me that they were a commodity. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to get to max level, if I'm going to be a part of this guild, I should be a healer or a tank.
So that I'm useful.
Yeah. So I abandoned the hunter. For some reason, deleted him, because that's how my brain worked at the time. Asked them what I should be rolling. You know, if they needed more healers or more tanks. And they were like, well, it depends on any given day. And I was like, well, okay, I'll roll a paladin then. And that'll be me helping the guild. And they were like, cool. So I went around questing, and I never did any instances until after the Dungeon Finder came out. Well, someone ran us through Shadowfang Keep, like when we were way under-leveled for it.
I think someone also did that for me.
Yeah, like...
Because this was back when we had the one. We didn't have 2 WoW accounts.
No. We broke the rules.
Yeah. We have 2 now, so chill.
We actually have 3 if you want to get super technical.
Yeah, one of them's not active.
No, Brandy doesn't have the time to play WoW.
But I didn't do any instances until after the Dungeon Finder came out either, because we're super antisocial in terms of the internet, so we don't have friends. So we gotta press a button to get a bunch of randos to play with.
It's partially that, and partially, it seems so fucking silly now because League of Legends, but it was a little scary interacting with the WoW community. There's a lot of elitism there, and there still is. But, their vitriol is so tame compared to League.
You know, they get grumpy. League players ask you politely to die in a fire.
It's nice that you think they ask politely.
Some of them do. Some of them ask unpolitely. Some of them tell. They give you many, many new disparaging remarks that you had not heard before. This is a little off topic from what we were talking about, but when we started playing WoW again, we played some PvP. We played Anne Arathi Basin on the 2 tunes we were leveling up in tandem on the roleplay server. And I realized something. I used to get pretty tense about WoW PvP. I was like, all right, why are these guys doing this? Don't be dumb. We gotta win. I've played League now, so this is babies compared to that.
Yeah.
The level of stress is so exponentially lower that I can't even begin to care.
Well, and the problem is, and I'm sure any of you who play WoW know this, is that PvP and PvE have become so separate that you can get into a battleground and play it, or a bunch, as a PvE character, but you're not going to be the best. You're barely going to win. It's going to be hard to compete if you don't have fucking gear.
If you don't have PvP, heirloom gear, and all that while you're leveling. And then on my max level tune during Cataclysm, I jumped into a couple battlegrounds. And this was a character I had leveled a lot during battlegrounds. This was a character I leveled a lot in battlegrounds and in Arathi Basin. And what was the name of that? I forget, because it's been so long. Not Warsong Gulch.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it yesterday. I have the fucking Frostwolf.
Yeah, the Frostwolf. You have the Frostwolf, because I got it.
No, I got it. I grounded up on my Paladin.
So did I. Now we only have one.
Oh, that's kind of sad. It'll come to me, just talk.
Yeah, on the big one that is like a little war campaign, I leveled from maybe 40 to 60.
Oh, jeez, yeah, you love that fucking game.
Exclusively on the Battleground. So I played a lot of Battlegrounds on this character, but I got from 60 to 85 doing dungeons, because he was a tank. And at that max level, I was useless as a PvE too. in a battleground.
Because by then Cataclysm had dropped, and Cataclysm brought with it the deeper separation between, PvE and PvP gear.
Yeah, and the resiliency and all that. Now, even without resiliency and, all the PvP gear, you're supposed to get to lower damage if you're a PvP dude. As a tank, as a, dungeon level, 5-man dungeon level tank, for Cataclysm, I was basically unmurderable, but I was also useless because I couldn't do any damage or do anything, really. But it's a pretty stark separation now between those two. They were basically different names.
Alterac Valley.
Alterac Valley. Thank you.
I had to look it up. I had to Google it.
Thank you for googling that, because that was going to drive me insane. I love Alterac Valley.
It's fun, and there's ways to have a lot of fun in it, but my favorite is Aerthi Basin, or Arathi, whichever you prefer. I don't give a fuck. Just because you can choose how deep you're into it. And depending on which point you defend, if you're defending, or which point you attack if you're attacking, the experience is a little different.
Yeah, I do. I like Arathi just fine. What would you say your least favorite battleground is?
The one.
Strand of the Ancients?
Yeah, I think so. That's the one with the stupid tanks and stuff, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I don't like that. And then there's the new
Isle of Conquest's okay.
Then there was the ones in Cataclysm, Battle for Gilneas and all that.
Twin Peaks.
I played those maybe 4 times. I don't have any.
And Mist has Silver Shard Mines. I haven't played any of them. Temple of Komogu, Deepwood Gorge. I haven't played anything after
Wrath.
Cat. Yeah, I played up to the Wrath dungeon, or the Wrath battleground.
I always liked Wintergrasp.
I tried
the
it
World
once.
PvP. Well, by the time we were doing it, it was empty. Because it was World PvP.
It just wasn't... I just didn't really like it. I didn't like the concept. It seemed like a way less organized Alterac Valley.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I liked it. I like Alterac Valley. But anyway, you were telling a story.
Yeah, I was. So that was Rookraven, that paladin, and I eventually got him up to 82, 83. I went Holy. Actually, my secondary spec was also Holy. I was running a Shakanin as my secondary spec back when that was the thing. I don't know if you can still do it. I don't know if you can still do DPS as a Holy Paladin. But that's basically what it was. It revolved around Holy Shock, and you had to have certain glyphs and
it was apparently I've never done it. Apparently, it wasn't very easy, but it was good if you could pull it off.
Well, it was kind of nice because you were a catch-all. You couldn't properly tank, but it was a lot like the Moonkin, where you could tank for a few seconds, and you had heals available to you, and you did pretty good DPS. It was like a hybrid ranged melee DPS spec for a paladin. It wasn't. I mean, I still did great on the damage charts, and I still helped people. I played all kinds of dungeons with it. It was fun.
It was a boomkin.
Basically, it was the paladin boomkin. I don't know if you can do it anymore.
Well, you can't do boomkin anymore anyway, so...
Well, you can. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I never did boomkin. Alright, so that was your first big tune.
That was my first big one. The other one I leveled was power leveled with Lee, the guy who got us into the game.
Lee strapped his ass to White and just pulled him up to 80?
Yeah, no, 60 and like 62, and then left me in Hellfire Peninsula looking like a rainbow pimp.
Oh my god, I miss that gear so much. The rainbow pimp gear from Hellfire with the giant pimp hat. And I think there's a pimp cane. It's ridiculous. Any cloth eagles who goes through Hellfire Peninsula, you either turn off the hat or begin role-playing about your homes, because...
He was a undead warlock, Rook Revenant. This all being based on alternate versions of my name.
Yeah. Rook Raven, White Raven, Rook Revenant, just...
I think Rook Revenant came first because that's White Raven backwards with different words.
Yeah, it's and then Rook Raven was second because that's just Crow.
Yeah, Crow! Yeah, that's all
Rook Raven.
It's not an RP server. I don't need a real name. I can call him Balls McGee for all it matters.
Called him Balls Mahoney and had him be terrible.
Hey, he's got charisma.
He does.
But yeah, those are my first big characters.
My first, when I got into WoW, Lee got me into WoW more than being helpful in putting me into WoW. White was playing, and this is a story of a lot of my video gaming career, aside from a lot of my like RPG and PC gaming career specifically. Well, White was playing it. It's a multiplayer game, so I might as well. I mean, it's something to do, and so he got me started. Got me into the game. My first tune, and I don't have as much alt-itis as him, or I didn't back then. I kind of do now. But my first tune, my first character was an undead mage, who I just solo leveled, which I understand which I had been told at that point was like the hardest class to solo level up.
Yeah, I think you even went arcane.
I went frost, actually. My second spec was arcane. But, sorry, all I can think now is G-Kick. But I was a Frost Mage. I just solo Frost Mage, did a lot of dungeons, did PvP, tried to get as much of the WoW experience in as possible. I got him up to Outland. And there he has remained.
I don't even think he's far enough into Outland. That's stupid gear.
No, he is. He's a little past the stupid gear.
Oh,
he's in
okay.
like the end of Outland, maybe
right.
maybe the beginning of Northrend, but I don't think so.
No, I don't think he was.
At that point, we
kind of said, "Fuck it."
yeah, we had another duo. It was we run a lot of. This was actually the first thing that caused us to start running duos. Was we have a lot of Orgzog and.
Orgzog and Rookgeist came later, actually.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
The first thing we did was move servers because the guy who got us into WoW had quit at that point.
Well, and we knew a couple people in the guild, but the guild was really shifting, and we didn't remember them.
When he quit, that guild changed and moved a lot of people around, and a lot of people left.
Like, a lot of people quit at the same time, kind of thing, and I didn't like a lot of the people that were there who were coming up who were new. Nothing personal, and I'm not going to name names, but
they even care.
Like they even care, yeah. They're sitting there listening to the podcast. No, but I'm not going to shame anybody. That's not my style.
That is my style.
It is. Glory was always nice, and her alts. But, a lot of the new people that showed up, I wasn't super fond of them. And the bigger problem, if I recall, is we were on a PvP server, and we couldn't get anything done because people in better gear were always constantly ganking us.
I mean, Bloodthirst is a PvP server too. I mean,
is it? I thought it was PvE.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Because I don't really play many PvE servers because our RP server is the only RP PvP server, isn't it?
It might be, I don't know. Wormrust Accord is where we play, which is also Moonguard, which is also, I think, Cenarian Circle.
Yeah, they've merged a bunch of servers recently, but we bounced around between a couple servers. Our main tunes, we moved to Blood Furnace. It was it was because it was high population, our starting server.
Oh yeah, we wanted to move to a low pop server where there was less competition for shit.
Yeah, because you couldn't get anything done because there was always 9,000 fucking people standing around waiting for the things to respawn because it was a really...
And Blizzard hadn't fixed that yet. Cataclysm did a lot to fix spawn timers on things
and instant and
phasing. There were a bunch of reasons why we were like, let's try our own server.
So we picked one, I think basically at random.
What was the coolest sounding name?
Yeah. Oh. And we started there, we got some tunes up, got some guild signatures, started a guild. It was basically just the two of us. I mean...
Yeah. I had a couple of friends who... I don't want to be rude and say pretended to join, but... They signed up, but they never really played there.
Yeah, it's just... And so we leveled tunes. We had a good time with Blood Furnace.
Yeah.
We also tried a bunch of other stuff. Eventually, another person got... us in roleplay servers. Who was that?
Well, and I'm sure I've told this story before, so I'll try to keep it super brief, but I was running a dungeon, Wrath dungeon, I think. I don't remember on who. It was either my paladin or my druid. And this dude there was like, y'all should come over to Warcraft. Warcraft is the best server ever. And he was so nice that I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? And I got over there and I was like, oh, this is an RP server.
It was the best server ever. Warcraft is still the best server ever.
And I know I've told the story about my first visit to Warcraft.
On the podcast?
Yeah. About when I walked into Stormwind.
And they were just doing a fireworks show because they wanted to.
I mean, and it's still like that.
Yeah. Even with the server merges and all that between RP servers, it's...
Moonguard is not as good of an RP server. It just isn't. If I run into somebody who's got a stupid-ass name or jumping around, screaming stuff, it's almost always someone from Moonguard. I'm not saying Warcraft people don't, because I've seen them too, but 9 times out of 10, it's someone from Moonguard. But it's not a big deal. They don't disrupt much. You can either, for real life, ignore them or right-click and ignore them if they're bothering you. It's not a huge bother.
But roleplay servers just became way more fun.
Yeah, it injected a lot of that
life back in the game.
Yeah, life. That's a good way to put it. And we started our paladin duo. You wanted to try a Ret Pally, and I wanted a Holy Paladin somewhere where it mattered.
So we started a pair of Draenei brothers. Also the first time we had rolled Alliance, really.
Yeah, we'd had like a couple of Worgen before, and I'd done it really cool, briefly.
But, yeah, no, until we went to roleplay servers, we didn't really do Alliance tunes.
Well, and the reason was, we wanted to try something different. I thought it was kind of stupid that I was denying myself half of the game's experience for team spirit.
Well, I was denying myself half of the game's experience because in all the servers I'd been on at that point, Horde guys were super chill. Alliance guys were douchebags. And that may have changed in the intervening time or what have you.
It's become a perception sort of thing. Like, Horde guys are super chill because you're on the Horde.
Well, that's the thing. Even when I tried to start up an Alliance tune, they were douchebags. They were actively mean.
Well, I know, in the intervening time, it's become a perception thing.
Oh.
Alliance is still in the minority, but...
It's because the Horde is way cooler.
They just have more shit going on, too.
Yeah, nothing...
Storyline-wise. There's a couple of things happening, but...
Nothing nearly as cool as Garrosh Hellscream's, fall from grace, which I think everyone in the universe saw that coming.
Begged for it to come, are you kidding me?
Hellscream's a douche.
They finally got that statue out of the river in Stormwind.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's what the Alliance has been up to since Cataclysm. We got to get that statue out of the river. Oh, we did it.
Hooray.
No, Jaina Proudmoore went all fucking crazy, and, there's stuff going on. It's just
not as interesting.
No, it's not as great magnitude as stuff going on in the Horde. And I like the races of the Horde better in general. I like the race class combinations of the Horde better in general.
I like Horde races better in general. The Alliance races aren't bad. I like Worgen, predictably, because they're the Horde race on the Alliance. They're such a Horde race. I suppose we had to get goblins because goblin NPCs do a lot of stuff, and it did a lot of stuff in Horde stuff, and we wanted a tiny race too, I guess.
Well, that's basically the way it was. The Alliance needed a nice, cool, monstrous race. The Horde needed a small race.
Feh. Worgen should be Horde.
Well, they made it make sense in story. Especially because... the situation with Sylvanas trying to take over Gilneas and...
Oh, no, in story it makes perfect sense. I'm talking from an aesthetics point of view.
From an aesthetics point of view. Yeah, but that's part of why the Alliance is so low population. All of the cool races... Okay, this is getting in deep. There's a reason I have a problem coming up with new characters in fantasy settings, and that's basically because I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons since I was... 14?
Yeah.
I like elves and dwarves and what have you.
Gnomes.
They're the stereotypical fantasy races. But I've played them. I've played them to death. I yearn for something slightly fucking different. And World of Warcraft, above Lord of the Rings, which is, it's the same fucking game but free.
And it's the same game from, like, Burning Crusade or Wrath. They're different now. The Lord of the Rings one is like a step back from it.
Oh, yeah, certainly. But it's very similar setup. It's not like the other MMOs which try to reinvent the wheel. It's just like, no, we're just WoW with hobbits.
We're WoW, but we can say hobbits out loud.
Yeah. And they have an awesome bard class. But, you know, the reason I didn't stick with that is because there's just no cool races to play. WoW has trolls. WoW has, you know, goblins, which goblins are a pretty standard race, but they inject so much personality into them, it's fun. WoW has the Draenei and the Worgen, and...
Draenei are cool.
Draenei are cool as hell.
I've never played a human in WoW.
Either have I. I doubt I ever will. I mean, even with...
Just because they look ugly.
Well, I mean, even with the upgrade, even with the update...
That's coming in Warlords of Draenor?
That's coming in literally like 5 days. October 14th is for frame of reference. Even with that, I don't know that I really care to play a human. I don't care about their plight. They do not spark my interest.
If I was ever going to play a human, I'd just play a Worgen. Full stop.
I mean, I don't care enough to look like that in combat to, you know...
If I was ever going to play a human, I would just play a Worgen.
Now, I'm not saying never, because I'm the guy who bought Yasuo because he hates it. You know?
You literally bought Yasuo because you hated it.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. That's exactly what he did. He wanted to learn the character so he could defeat him.
Yes. And I get it. It's fine. I'm no longer scared of him. You know, I might roll like a paladin at some point and want him on the alliance side for some reason.
Draenei.
Well, I already have a holy paladin Draenei, so I like to keep
dwarf?
things diverse. No, it's just humans and Draenei and Tauren and what else?
Oh wow. Paladin is a sharply limited class, isn't
No,
it?
so's Druid. There's only 4 races that can be Druid.
Yeah, trolls and Tauren and night elves and
Worgen.
Worgen Druid. That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, there might be a situation in which I decide, fuck it, I'm rolling a human something. Human females have a cool casting animation, so there's that.
Unlike night elf males.
But goblin males have my favorite casting animation. Because they like fucking underhand spells at people.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's really cool. Playing a goblin priest has been delightful.
Only goblin I ever got outside that awful starting zone was a rogue. Just awful. Awful fucking starting zone. Aggressively terrible.
But, yeah. As we were saying, once we got started on Blood Furnace, we both leveled druids there. You went resto, I went for my moonkin.
And they leveled together because they were on opposite accounts. So
Yeah, so we could actually partner them up, and then you leveled a protection paladin.
on the set, yeah. So ended up being that that your druid partnered with both of my tunes, and somehow both of my tunes ended up higher level.
Because they changed the balance druid. I really liked the moonkin before Cataclysm hit.
And it became aspect of the sun and moon, bounce that meter back and forth game.
Yeah, I liked being able to fill up one side of my meter once they introduced it. And it might have been once Pandaria hit, maybe.
No, you didn't like the meter. You made peace with being able to fill up one side. And they
Yeah,
changed it so you
then
could.
they changed it so that you had to bounce from one spec to the other, and there was a rhythm to it. And I just don't like it as much. I can play it, just the same as I can play a warrior, but I don't want to.
Except in PvP. They're fun in PvP.
Prot warriors are fun.
But it's... And throughout my WoW career, I haven't played nearly all the classes. I've played a hunter to the mid-60s. I've played a mage to the mid-70s. And from there, it's mostly just paladins and druids.
Yeah, you're playing. Oh yeah, druid. Wow.
It's mostly just
priest. Your PvP tune with
is a shadow priest because trolls couldn't be warlocks back then, and he's too high level for me to reroll him.
Yeah.
He should be a warlock, but trolls couldn't be warlocks back then, so I did shadow priest, the closest thing.
But that's our PvP duo, and that's really what we've been using Blood Furnace for, or at least what I've been using it for since the expansion.
PvP. We got some max level tunes, and I'm currently going through the Mists of Pandaria stuff to get another max level tune. Eventually, I'm sure if we keep up WoW, I'll get Warlords of Draenor, level that my two mains up through that set of dungeons to get to the max level tunes, and that way they can just grind up high gold amounts so that they can send it down to the PvP dudes.
Basically.
And they've even made it so that most PvP stuff is done with honor points and other points besides gold, so we might not even need to do that.
Well, for leveling professions and shit.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's Blood Furnace we mostly use for PvP. Now, for like PvE dungeon stuff, I would rather do a roleplay server. It makes the game more fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to do while you're waiting for your dungeon queue to pop. And I mean, it's something to do while you're waiting for PvP queue to pop, but you're so far removed from the world and the events that it's like, oh, hey, what do you do? Yeah, I constantly am fighting in the Warsong Gulch. That's what I do.
The battle for Warsong Gulch is real, and I am still doing it.
I guess, actually, moreover, it seems like a waste to have a character who's not going to be doing PvE stuff on a roleplay server. Because there's only so much you can do role-playing wise if you can't go fight an enemy. You know, if you're going to get really into the storyline and want to go kill fucking Garrosh on your character...
Which I'd want to do that on non-roleplay servers because Garrosh Hellscream is a douche.
But, you know, okay, if you want to build up to that point, and you want to be a part of that with some of your friends on the RP server, of which we have none...
yeah, we have an RP server. We have a bunch of characters on an RP server. I think I'm up to 3 now. You're up to like what, 9, 10, 12?
No, I think I got like 5 active ones.
But and yet all we do is talk to each other.
Well, I want to get higher levels because I'm not looking for a guild right now. And I've had several guild invites. I've had several people comment me on my MRP profile, but I'm just not looking for a guild. I want to get to at least close to max level, so I can be on par with current events.
So that you can be helping with current events.
That too. I've been in a guild when you're low levels. It's being in a chat room. You don't really get to help with anything,
You're just basically there to listen to guild chat. I'd rather join a guild when I am high enough level to be of use. When my troll druid is high enough level to heal an instance.
Yeah.
Or, go help heal this world thing this world PvP or world event that's happening. Because I have a troll druid, their animal forms are so badass looking, I'm playing Resto. Because I really, really like druid heals. And I want to have, that's my version of year 1 at a holy paladin where it matters. I want a Resto druid where it matters.
Yeah.
Because I love druid heals. It's my favorite thing to do in the whole fucking game.
I kind of want a Destro lock where it matters too. I think Demonology is really cool, and Affliction's okay. I've got a PvP guy.
I prefer Affliction, honestly. It's just fun to stack them dots.
It doesn't really appeal to me that much. It's great in PvP, and that's why my Affliction lock is PvP. But in terms of PvE, that Destro rotation.
You love it?
I learn it, live it, love it. And I love that you can go get the Fellfire now and turn that shit green.
That is nice.
The guy who got us into WoW has apparently started playing again. I don't see him on that much, but
he's on a different server than we are, so...
No, he's on our Battle.net thingy.
Oh, yeah.
So, I suppose if I was really fussed, we're still in that guild.
We are?
Yeah.
They never kicked us?
No! Well, I was on the other night, and there was nobody there, so... I think we are by default the kings of the guild.
That would be amazing.
But for all intents and purposes, it is as we left it. But I would rather have something reliable, something I want to play, characters I'm super into. The more I come away from it, yeah, I rolled a Blood Elf Paladin because I wanted to play a Paladin and I was Horde for life. But I don't, if I rolled a Paladin today, another one,
Tauren.
Yeah, I would probably roll a Tauren. I think there's more interesting lore there. I think it's more, the gear's going to look cooler because they have big shoulders.
And they fit Paladin more.
Yeah. Like, Blood Elf lore is really backwards. I understand that Tauren Druids get their power from the sun, Sunwalkers they call them. But, it's not that different from the light. Whereas the Paladin and Blood Elves...
Memory serves, and it's been years since I looked this up, they literally stole and imprisoned a Naru. And are stealing power from him.
They stopped.
Yeah, they managed to
I just don't remember where they're getting it from now.
I think they they made a new Sunwell or something.
I think so. Yeah, they made a new Sunwell.
They reforged the Sunwell and they're getting power from the Sunwell again.
My favorite character I'm playing right now is my Goblin Priest.
Because he's on a roleplay server and he plays him as a shyster.
Oh yeah, well I was reading about years ago when the Goblins comic was a bigger thing. If you haven't read the webcomic, it's pretty good. But I guess it's falling apart or something.
It's on hiatus, we'll say. We'll be polite.
Okay. And after Cat dropped, he was like, dude, we're going to start a Goblin Guild for the Goblins comic on this server. And it's a roleplay server, so Boy and I both rolled Goblins over there.
That was the Goblin I got out of the starting zone.
And, no, because he was a priest. You rolled a Goblin Priest, I rolled a Goblin Mage.
I did get a Goblin Priest. Did I get him out of the starting zone? Even I don't think
no, we got 2 Orgrimmar.
Oh, yeah. No,
And we're so fucking exhausted that we said, fuck it.
That Goblin, I must have completely erased it from my brain because that Goblin starting zone is so awful.
Well, we kind of burned through it. It's a lot smoother with 2 people. Like, going through the Goblin starting zone alone is worse.
Well, yeah. That's just facts.
And,
not... what was the name of the fucking island that explodes?
Kazan?
Kazan is super hilarious.
Kazan is fine. It's a little
funny,
hard to maneuver around.
And you get a little car, you blast the radio. It's great. The rest of that starting zone, the rest of the starting quests for goblins until you get to Org, terrible.
And it wouldn't even be so bad. There's like 2 points. Fucking with the Naga, or the Hydra, or whatever the fuck they're called. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And everything to do with the pygmies.
Yeah, everything to do with those fucking pygmies can just go. Please erase it.
They're not bad quest lines, but it just makes that Goblin starting zone feel so much longer.
Whereas, the Worgen starting zone will get you to, level 12...
Oh, and the Goblin one does that too.
But the Worgen starting zone feels like it lasts 28 minutes. It's like an episode of How I Met Your Mother. It's
just so much more palatable. The storyline is linear in that it follows a path. Whereas the Goblin starting zone storyline is all over the fucking place. You fight a giant robot chicken, you have to kill zombies with rocket boots. I'm reminded of WoW Krendor's video, if the players ran WoW.
Yeah,
super popular
That's
video.
what the Goblin starting.
Yeah, it feels like the most random bullshit thrown in a board.
And I get that goblins are supposed to be a sillier race.
Yeah, no,
like
that's
gnomes
fine. They don't need to be taken so seriously, but it just feels so fucking long. It feels so fucking long.
Which is sad, because I love goblins, and I'd like to have a goblin tune. I even have a gnome tune now, because I like the tiny... I want to play a gnome or goblin fighter of some type, like a gnome death knight or a goblin warrior, or... Just because I remember how much I fucking hate those in PvP, because they're legitimately kind of hard to click. And I want to get a goblin, tank, and give some of that love back to the Alliance.
I love goblins. I hate that I love goblins because that's starting zone. But the character you rolled was a goblin priest, and you were like, okay, so I'm going to play a goblin priest, but he's going to be greedy. He's going to charge for heals, kind of thing. Not actually, but speech-wise.
In role plays, yeah, you owe me for this. You're running up a big tab here.
And we had this great idea that actually started on a non-roleplay server for Worgen. When we were trying to get guild signatures.
Oh yeah, we would do a carnival barker and plant routine.
Yeah. And we ended up getting our guild signatures. We were what was it, terrible yet refined?
Yes.
I mean the guild's gone now, the characters are gone. I don't play on that server, but we got it done. I mean it was and it was fun, so we were like, okay, let's take that routine on the road. Let's do it with goblins. Let's do it the right way.
Because it fits them so much better.
But it just never went anywhere like that. We made those characters, played our PvP guys for a little more, and then stopped playing WoW. And here now, by the time we've gotten back into WoW, Goblins is not really a comic anymore. I don't want to set up on a new roleplay server that's on a different fucking battle group.
More so than that, I don't want to set up on a new server. We're just getting started on this server with enough gold to be worth it.
Yeah, it's hard enough that we don't have a guild for all our dudes, so it's a little tedious to trade money and gear and shit back and forth. But at least it's doable, and at least we've got a foundation, not like on Blood Furnace, where it's just a guild bank full of neat stuff and thousands of gold.
Yeah, I mean, listener, by all means, if you want to start up a WoW tune on Blood Furnace, I'm not doing anything with that money.
Or Worm Rest Accord. We'd be happy to hang out with you if you want to play some WoW with us.
Yeah. If you want to actually play WoW with us, you'll want to do Worm Rest Accord. If you want to just benefit from our work, go to Blood Furnace. The guild name is Gods on Voodoo Moon. And it's literally like a full 5-tab guild bank full of leveling mats and gold.
Yeah.
I realize I'm basically just telling the internet to hack me.
Internet, steal from us.
But WoW is usually pretty good about getting.
Oh yeah, no, WoW, they get you your shit back. It's whatever. Yeah. So my priest, my new main, Goblin Priest, Holy Spec, and I took it because I was reading up on goblins and how they are priests. And this is WoW Wiki, but there isn't an official word on it. Goblin priests have access to the light through sheer willpower. They did this because they figured it would be lucrative.
They have literally greeted their way into being beacons of holy magic.
And that's great.
That's amazing.
So I rolled Zomax, which I just went into a goblin name generator, hit the button a bunch of times, and saw Zomax and went, yes, perfect. This name is incredible. Zomax Greasepalm. And he is a holy priest who uses a bunch of shadow spells for CC. Sits around chewing on nothing, tossing heals at people quite literally. He's a lot of fun. I'm taking a break from him right now. I hit 30. I don't want to get burnt out on him.
But there's been some changes to WoW since we quit that I want to touch on briefly, because I like almost all of them.
Oh, yeah. I like what's coming, too.
One of the big changes that happened that I noticed immediately is you now share accounts. Mounts are all apparently account bound now.
Yeah.
And not just account bound, PvP.net account bound. So our two different WoW accounts, which are on the same PvP.net account, our two different WoW accounts all have access to both these mounts. So all the mounts that I ground up on my main on Blood Furnace, the dragons and all the cool shit that I have, they get. And all the mounts, the whole reason I used to carry around tabards for a bunch of different things, because I wanted to get a weird mount, I wanted to be able to ride a chicken on my Tauren as a joke. And I can just do that now. Looks funny, by the way.
The first time I logged back into WoW, and I got on Starstrix, my druid, you get it, It means star owl because he is a balanced druid.
He uses stars is a giant owl.
Man, I'm really butthurt about the changes. I loved my balanced druid. Oh well. But yeah, the first thing I did when I got on him was I was looking around stuff and I saw the Goblin Trike. And he had Billswater Cartel tabard on. Because I wanted to have a stupid tiny car. I thought it was going to be hilarious. I got in that stupid tiny car and I fucking drove in circles. It was like, this is the greatest thing ever. This was worth the $15 it took to get WoW back and the $30 I paid for Pandaria.
Because, yes.
They actually gave us Pandaria for free. If you play WoW, you knew about this. About a month ago. It was basically the reason we both got back in. They were like, I'd been hemming and hawing about it for like a month. Literally a month.
Yeah, literally. Like a calendar month.
Well, and out loud. I'd been thinking about it for longer. Since I let it lapse, got my life back in order, and then I was like, I really like playing WoW. Wouldn't mind getting back into that. But, I was like, I don't know, because how much am I actually going to play it? Boy's probably not going to want to re-up. But a lot of the stuff that's coming looks really cool, and I love the new model updates. It's going to bring so much freshness.
I'm a little concerned I'm not going to be able to play it anymore with the model updates.
No, I wouldn't be. You can run League just fine, and that's more stressful on all kinds of shit.
Not your graphics card.
We have to drop League's graphics lower than we do WoW's.
True. One way or another.
Yeah, so we'll get another graphics card.
A better one.
Or just more RAM for it,
Anyway, a lot of the changes look really fun. I love, we got the touring rocket.
Oh, yeah.
A while back. I forget how we even got that. What was that about? What got us that touring rocket?
We rezzed one of the accounts.
Yeah, we had, one had been inactive long enough that we got a scroll resurrection for and got you the touring rocket so you could cart your little friend around, but only one account had that. Now they both do. Which somewhat defeats the purpose of the touring rocket, and at the same time it makes it so much better because we can both ride around on little rocket cycles.
Well, and I thought it was cool because actually I gave the rocket to one of Brandy's characters back when she was on the account.
Yeah, because it wasn't even account bound. It was single tune.
No, yeah, one tune, got it. And short aside, when I first started playing WoW, everybody referred to their characters as tunes. And I asked Lee why. He's like, I don't know, they're cartoons, I guess, or something. I don't know what explanation he gave me, but I was like, that's dumb. Why would you call them tunes? That's stupid. They're not cartoons. They're your characters. Why would you call them that? And then, here years later, I still don't understand why, and I still call them tunes.
It's the name. It's the thing.
It's quicker. Do they even call them that anymore? Am I sitting here going I'm on this tune, and they're like, what's that? 23 Skidoo. Wait, is something
did
the
you
bee's
just,
knees?
Did you just call someone a hepcat?
But yeah, I gave it to one of Brandy's characters to kind of encourage her to play more. Which she likes the game. She just doesn't like PC controls. I can't blame her. It's the reason I'm not a big fan of Skyrim on the PC, despite us actually owning it now. But, so I gave it to her, and she stopped playing. And this was before we got her own account. But I wanted that mount, so I talked to Blizzard. And they do not usually do this. And I was like, look, here's the deal. We use this mount on a character. You should be able to see that this character has not been played for 6 months. I've got a duo. They're very lively. They're not high enough level to fly yet, but they run around as a duo. You should be able to see we only ever play them together. Can you please move the rocket to one of those guys? And they were like, well, okay, just this once. But now, we wouldn't have had to do that.
Yeah, now it's here, you have it.
Everybody has it.
Everybody gets to ride around in the rocket. And I like that a lot.
I do too. But yeah, and now we've got Warlords of Draenor coming out. I can't say I'm super hyped for the new content in terms of, like, the actual story.
Well, I wasn't super hyped for the Mists of Pandaria content in terms of the story. I just recently, like, as in today, started actually playing the Mists game. The beta storyline was, like, it seems like it starts halfway through the expansion or something, because I'm playing something I never touched before when I was in the beta. But, like, maybe it's just the character I'm playing, or maybe it's the mood I'm in, but pandas don't seem, like, wise and, as kung fu.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about them being whiners.
They're just whiny. They're just whiny. They're just, oh man, why you gotta come break our stuff? Man, I like that beer. Dude, there are people literally shooting cannons at me right now. Can you please shut up about the fucking beer?
I was intrigued by the storyline. I've been wanting pandas since before Cat.
Oh yeah, no, I wanted pandas. Don't get me wrong. The horde side of the starting quests of Mists of Pandaria, those fucking pandas do not make a good impression.
Yeah, well, again, you're playing a character who is not very serene. So, you put that inflection in there, he doesn't give a fuck, why should I, kind of thing. But, yeah, we just kind of gibbered about WoW for a while. I'm sure we could gibber about it some more, and I'm sure we will once Draenor drops.
Well, it's such a big thing. There's like a swath of shit we never
Yeah, there's literally 5 years of shit to talk about here, and, 10 total, if we want to go back to, like, old shit that we never even experienced. But, I look forward to talking about it some more. I'm looking forward to Draenor, looking forward to the new models, looking forward to garrisons.
Yeah, that if before anything, and this is so casual of me, but before anything else gets me to drop the money on Draenor on the account I play on typically, it's gonna be garrisons. It's gonna be garrisons. I love player housing as a thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we're both pretty much really looking forward to it. I think when we get the new models and stuff, this week, that'll be a nice teaser, a nice end to it. And here's the big question. We're talking about how we got back into WoW and why. If someone on the street came up to you and said, "Hey, aren't you that bald guy from the internet?"
I would blink and go, "Yeah, but how do you know me?"
Shut up, don't question it. Should I get back into World of Warcraft?
I would ask, why'd you leave? Because it all depends on if they left because they'd done everything and beat all of the stuff. Well, there's nothing new. But if you
Unless
left,
you want to beat that stuff again.
you already beat all this stuff. I mean, there's some new stuff from the expansions, but let's face it, if you're the kind of guy who's already done Ice Crown Citadel and blah 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 and left after absolutely fuck-obliterating Wrath, you're gonna chew through that shit in 3 days. If you left because you got bored, or because you didn't have anything to do, or what have you, I would suggest you get back into it. Cataclysm revamped some stuff, and there's more stuff to do in leveling tunes now, and I would suggest maybe try a new tune. Try something you haven't tried before. Maybe try something in a roleplay server, because legitimately, they just make the game more fun.
Even if you're just wandering around and observing, just seeing people have conversations. Oh! This literally happened to me last night. I was walking through Stormwind, and I saw two people sitting on the bridge between the central part of Stormwind and Old Town, role-playing.
Now, when he says that, it's not a roleplay server, so you assume, they were having a conversation in character. No.
No, they were playing a role-playing game.
Like, they were playing...
Like, their characters were playing World of Warcraft D&D.
About helping the Indiana Jones XP.
And
That is Inception. That is some Inception level shit.
That was two people playing a role-playing game, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, on a role-playing server, who said, "This is not enough role-playing for us. We need to role-play our characters' role-play."
Are you sure one of them wasn't Exhibit?
No, they were both of Caucasian ancestry, so it seems unlikely. I just thought it was super funny. I had a good laugh about it. I had to stomp away around a corner and laugh. Not like slash laugh. I wasn't that into it. I had to not be there because I stopped for a second and just kind of stared at them. I was like, that's gauche. Go away. Me personally, I would say, yeah. If you haven't leveled a character since before Cat, get back into it and start a new character. Because it's all different. There's a couple of quests that are still the same. And
not even they're the same. They're similar.
Well, no, there are some quests that are the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like getting that scorpion venom. And...
Oh God, no! I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the minority. There are dungeons that are revamped. There are
Shadowfang Keep is different now, I think.
Yeah, like so much is different, and it's like WoW version 2. If you've ever heard on forums, people back in the day would talk about when are they going to make a sequel to WoW. Clearly, never. They've got like the next 5 expansions planned out. I'm not even exaggerating.
They don't need to make a sequel to WoW. Just keep upping your game with the same game.
They made Cataclysm was WoW 2. But they just overhauled the WoW that was already there.
And they're still in the process of doing that with Mists and with Warlords of Draenor, and they'll have like maybe I'd say 3 more expansions there, and then they'll go to WoW 3, and then WoW 4.
Well, they're going to do expansions yearly now.
Holy shit, that's a shorter cycle.
Yeah, they shored up their scheduling. Like that was a big thing they were trying to do with Mists or with Warlords of Draenor. Because all things told, there's not a whole lot in this expansion in terms of like pure content.
So instead of expansions being literally expansions, they're different continents, different worlds, a whole new game. Essentially, it's like a little bite-sized chunk. It's an add-on that happens around every year.
Yeah, well, it's still an expansion. It's just a smaller expansion, so that they can get cool stuff out to you in a more timely fashion.
And they can keep that level cap moving.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do, because 100 is the new level cap. Are they just going to like go say fuck it and go to 110? Are they going to be like, you know what, let's squish some of this down? Your maximum level is now 50, Well,
that would make people angry.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If they change anything, people are going to get angry. I honestly think it's a good idea, because there are so many empty levels right now.
There are empty levels if they squish the levels down, but it wouldn't even matter because that would just mean that you don't level for like ever.
Like vanilla?
Yes.
Fuck, like Draenor? Or not Draenor, like Wrath of the Lich King?
No, you leveled in Wrath until you got to fucking like levels 78, 79, 80.
Nah, dude, man, you had to run through a lot of stuff in Wrath before you leveled up. Most of the changes they made to leveling came in Cataclysm when they made those first 15 levels fly by. You keep asking me how I level up new characters to 15 so quick because they let me. I don't even have heirloom gear. Can you imagine if I had heirloom gear?
That's just, because I've leveled a couple tunes past 15 from Cat, but I do it on roleplay servers, so I'm dicking around, roleplaying, sitting in town, drinking beer, but I guess if I just power leveled, it really wouldn't take that long, would it?
No, not really. It slows down at about 15, and they slowly start feeding you the reels. I have finally gotten to a point on my priest where I run out of mana in dungeons sometimes.
Hey, you know what? Alright, my level 85 tune who I was playing today, in Miss, I didn't run mana. I was spamming every spell that I had. Just to see, didn't run out of mana once. I think they have just gone full Earth mode. In a lot of things. It's just, when you're out of mana, you're out of fun.
Well, WoW is fun. And yeah, if you haven't played since before Cat, I'd say get back into it. There's enough shit for you now. Most of it's fucking free. If you wait until Draenor comes out, they'll probably give you a discount like they did with Cataclysm.
Just try and get those subscribers back because League keeps stealing their customers.
Yeah. Well, and fatigue as well.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have really much else to... I mean, we have a bunch else to say.
Yeah, we have a bunch else to say, not much time to say it in.
We can both see the timer is already over
There's
an hour.
nothing to get into.
So we don't want to get into anything new. But we will probably talk about WoW again.
Almost definitely, yeah.
It's too big not to. And we have a couple more, at least one more, probably two more if we can swing it. Bonus podcast coming this month, along with all of the spooky, scary podcasts that are coming for, the month of October, the Halloween themed ones, horror movies, that sort of thing. But until all that happens, just remember, everything's better when nerds talk about it.
Fuck it, let's go!